And welcome back to Never Don't Ask with me, John Martin, and we're having another station review. Welcome to one of the most difficult to locate stations in the country, the 39th least used station in the country, and the least used in the city of Manchester. We're at Ardwick. Until you stumble onto this station and see the little sign pointing towards the trains, there is no indication a station is here. You can walk yards from here and not know there is a station. I've been here before, and I still walked around an industrial estate looking for the entrance. We're in inner city Manchester neighbourhood of Ardwick, and the area around the station is now a mix of industrial estates, railway viaducts, and small commercial units. You get the impression this is one place you don't want to be after dark or during the day. The station sits at the point where the Glossop and Bellevue lines heading east split from the Stockport and Airport lines that head south out of Manchester Piccadilly. The station is less than a mile from the terminus, sitting on the back alley of Devonshire Road, a road that links Hyde Road and Ashton Old Road. So what actually is nearby? Well, there used to be a bus depot, and City's old ground was next door. There is a small train depot just along the line, and from the platforms you can see some of the disused infrastructure of disused railways. Looking at the rail map online, you can see this area used to have a spaghetti of sidings and goods yards from the London and North Western, the Midland Railway, and the Great Central, almost all trace of which has been built over. And my friend used to have a brewery under one of the arches of the viaduct a few minutes away. On things that still exist, well, there's an office building, the post office delivery centre is nearby, and the station is a reasonably short walk from the Manchester Apollo concert venue and Manchester University's South Campus. The city centre lies to the northwest, Beswick to the north, Gordon to the east, Longside to the southeast, and Chiltern and Medlock and the universities to the south and west. Ardwick Station was opened by the Sheffield, Ashton-under-Lyne and Manchester Railway in November 1842, opening a few months after Manchester Store Street, now known as Piccadilly, opened up. This replaced the temporary Travis Street terminus. The Ashton-under-Lyne station on this line isn't the current one, but the station that is now Guy Bridge, previously called Ashton and Hooley Hill. Most of the Manchester end of the line had opened in 1841, with the extension to Glossop opening in December 1842. And by the end of 1845, the line to Sheffield had fully opened and has a branch to Staley Bridge. 1847 saw the company merged into the Manchester, Sheffield and Lincolnshire Railway. 50 years later, with the London extension in the works and Muck, Sludge and Lightning, became the Great Central Railway. The area around the station became more industrial and less populated, to such an extent that plans were in the works to close the station with the promise of an uptick in passengers. Plans to close the station were dropped in 2007. In 2023, the station was temporarily shut to replace the footbridge. This shows a remarkable commitment to the station given the paucity of passengers who use the place, but I feel the chances of getting tetanus from that footbridge were pretty high. The station consists of a small island platform on the line towards Glossop and Marple. The station gets marks for services 1 out of 10. This gets a whole, 1 out of 10 because it gets a daily service, and we need to save the zeros for the once weekly stations. We get 2 trains a day. In December 2023, the morning peak train from Hadfield to Piccadilly calls the station, and in the evening peak we get a train from Piccadilly to New Mill Central. This is contrary to what it says on Wikipedia, and no, it isn't true. Romiley is the only station you can go in from in the morning and return to in the evening from Ardwick, as Romiley isn't on the Hadfield Glossop line. However, Ashbury's does fit the bill. However, as that's the next station on the line about 3/4 mile away, I'm not even sure what use that is. I'm also slightly reluctant to even class evening services being usable because I have a suspicion that an evening service from Piccadilly won't have much in the way of space for boarding passengers. Trains on the line towards Stockport and the airport pass next to the station but do not stop. There is some evidence of trains on this route having once served the station, but there are no longer platforms. It's also £3.20 for single between Piccadilly and Ardwick, less than a mile, which rivals London Underground for expensive fares for pointlessly short journeys. The 2023-24 figures for passenger uses show Ardwick as having 396 passengers a year. Oddly, 102 of these were season tickets. It works out just over one passenger per day, but there is no Sunday service, and on Saturdays there's only a morning service, giving us 11 timetable services a week, so we have 0.69 passengers per train. Guidebridge is the station which sees the most journeys to and from Ardwick, with 50 journeys in 23-24. This was followed by Manchester Piccadilly with 44 expensive journeys, Manchester Victoria with 12, Gatley with 7, and Oxford Road with 7. There you know. Onward Travel, 1 out of 5. This is another 1 score. There are a number of bus routes close by, but all of them are from Piccadilly Station, so I don't see much point in using them, as you're likely to get a better seat if you picked them up from Piccadilly. Marks for accessibility, 0 out of 10. Oh dear God. This is a clear 0. Well, the first step of accessible stations is actually sign the thing. There are no signs. Even random country stations have better signing than this. So even after finding it, you clamber past the parked cars, and it's up steps from the street level to track level. The steps are clearly wonky. And as you walk along the side of the track, then to the footbridge, which takes you over the lines and onto the island platform, there are no lifts, no step-free access, no staff. Marked for station facilities, 1 out of 10. This is a guess of 1. I was amazed. Has a ticket machine and a help point. There are seats, 2 of them, and a covered waiting area. And the seats aren't under the covered waiting area, which is helpful. As we know, central Manchester is known for its lack of rain. There are no Dr. H displays for up-to-date information. There is a defib machine at street level, but giving anything other than a 1 would be an insult to anything other than the very basic minimum. Marks for care and character, 0 out of 20. No way this could be anything but a 0, because one word, nasty. The approach to this station is full of fly-tip rubbish. Everything is graffitied. Nobody can spend any time on this station that feels safe. They've replaced the footbridge, but this is just a level of how unsafe this bridge feels that they're spending money on it. There's some reasonably mowed grass on the platform, and given the high frequency of trains passing, this would be a great place for rail photography, as long as the photographer has an up-to-date tetanus jab, no equipment of any value, or sense of self-preservation, or they have a bodyguard. Marked for nearby things, 1 out of 10. There is a sandwich shop around the corner. Not sure if it's open when the station's in use, but I'll give it benefit of the doubt, and this is a 1. Overall, this station gets 4 marks out of 65, a whole 6% in my ratings, which sets a low bar that many stations will struggle to beat. It's a grossly inaccessible station. Its main redeeming feature that is so hard to find, you may never actually set foot on the platform. A measure of how hard to find it was if you look at all the stations by Jeff Marshall. He started one of his days at Ardwick. He couldn't find a station, asked some local people, said there's no station nearby. It was round the corner. So, I hope you enjoyed this review. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you next time for another station somewhere across the country.